Alright guys, I'm cheating a little bit because mine's already installed in my truck for my other fan, but I'll show you. You can unbolt the coolant tank. It's just 2 bolts and you can fold it out of the way. The power relay modules go on the bulkhead underneath the radiator tank. So they're basically right back here. So 1 bolt there, 1 bolt on the fender, even with the stock tank. This will fold out of the way and you can get to back here. It's a nice location because it's tucked out of the way, it's out of the weather, it's out of the elements. You can still get to it if you need to change fuses or anything. But mount your 2 power relay modules there. I have Allen head hardware bolting mine in, but the self tappers will hold it into place. And then you can route your harness. You can see I have the jumper cable between the 2. And then this one, and I put little rubber boots on the end just to keep it from, if I drop a wrench or whatever. And then I tuck the 6-gauge wire. It comes, it's a little dark. It runs over and up, and it runs behind my fuse box, around, and to the back. So when you open your fuse box lid, on the back here, you can remove this cover. It bolts to this. So you take that screw, that nut off, and put the 6-gauge cable onto that stud. Now be careful, this is directly fed off the battery. So if your battery's hooked up and you're wrenching on this, that cable's live. So I would do that last or disconnect your battery. You don't want to hook that up and have the cable flopping down there because you'll short something out. Once it's mounted and bolted up, you're fine, but it's while you're working that accidents can happen. Alright, next thing to do, and I said I'm cheating here because mine's already routed and hooked in, but the 2 small cables on your control harness plug in to the power relay modules. So you just line them up. You gotta make sure the pins are lined up so you don't damage anything. Of course, I can't get it plugged in trying to record at the same time as talk and bounce on the cross member. But those 2 plug in. Then you take your main fan harness and the 2 big connectors with a single cable. They plug in on the bottom. 1 on each, and you can push them until they click. So your power relay module is hooked up with the 1 on top, the control one hooked in, and that. 2 ground terminals. There's some green bolts back up in there on the firewall that like the headlight harness grounds to. So ground these both of those to any good ground bolt back there. Make sure it's metal to metal contact. Your fan's operating through that, so you need to have a good ground or your fans won't work. And then the other side, you just route around and plug this into your fans. The control side harness, like I said, you route it up with the 6-gauge cable. The red one, you're going to route into the fuse box and you're going to plug in to this location. Mine's a little bit different because I'm running the single fan, which is a different wire harness. My color's a little different, but this one is the switch 12 volt spot. Now, on trucks with AC, this outer one, you can see my fuse box is bowed out. You need to tap into that, and you'll have a relay here if you have AC. I don't have any taps to tap from the top, and it's a pain in the ass anyway. You can see it bowed my fuse box out when I used to have that set up. You're going to need to unclip the fuse box. We're just popping these out. Lift the fuse box up and find the wire on the bottom that attaches to that pin, and do that quick connect. This guy crimped under the wire and hook up, plug this into it. And that's for the AC override. That leaves you 2 cables left. Route them over your brake booster. The one with the insulation runs down the side of the block and attaches to the temp sensor. And this sleeving can slide. Make sure it's secured away from headers, but put this by any heat sources. And the other wire, unplug the switch and send it in through the firewall. And then I explained the switch operation, and you just ground the other leg of it on any ring terminal, any ground post. And that's it, your fan's installed. One last piece on the block, I'll show you real quick. The temp sensor goes into the side of the block at that port right there. And that's it.